What's up guys, how's it going? Moses here, bringing you another Path of Exile video. This time we're going to thoroughly focus on Glacial Cascade. This is going to be a leveling guide. So everything you need to know from level 1 until you reach maps. And yeah, so let's get started. You start off your character. Twilight Strand, you kill Hillock, you talk to Tarkly. He will give you a quest reward of, you'll be able to select several gems. You're going to want to pick up either Freeze Pulse or Fire Trap. You're going to need both of these, so whatever you pick the other one from Nessa, you purchased that from Nessa. She's going to only be able to have these two lines, and you're going to pick up the either Fire Trap or Freeze Pulse. Depends on what you chose from Tarkly. Now, at this point you would want to make your +1 wand. If it's the very early stages of the league, your first character, you have no currency, it's fine. Wait a couple levels, gather up some resources, and make yourself your +1. So I'm gonna bring it in here. For +1 wand, what we want is a magic wand. So make sure that the wand has the proper links and colors that you'll need. You'll need +1 to fire, +1 to cold, and +1 to lightning. So you'll need to pick up the respective rings. So you make your magic wands, and you just vendor a magic wand, a ring of the proper element, and one alteration orb, and this will give you a +1 to level of socketed cold gems because we used a sapphire ring. We're going to repeat the same process for our fire. And the same process for our lightning as well. So now that we have the wands, that's great. In one we're going to put in Freeze Pulse, Arcane Surge, and added Lightning. The Freeze Pulse will have +1. For the second we're going to use Fire Trap, Multi-Trap, and added Lightning. Whenever you pick up the Multi-Trap, you're also going to unlock the second and the third and fourth lines and fifth, I guess, and you're going to be able to purchase multiple traps as well as remote mine and minefield. So you want to pick up at this point 2 of each of those so that you'll be able to have them in your off weapons, so you'll be able to level them up as you go along. Why is that? Because our Glacial Cascade is a miner, of course, and we're going to need these gems for when we will get our Glacial Cascade spell at level 28 when we kill Gravitius in Act 3. So by that time these gems are going to be level 7. You're going to pick it up from Nessa at level 1, but you're going to level that up as soon as you can, so that you'll be able to have more damage once you use your Glacial Cascade setup. Alright, so we have our 3-link Freeze Pulse, added Lightning, and Arcane Surge. Added Lightning we'll be able to pick up only later. At first it's going to just be Freeze Pulse and Arcane Surge. For Fire Trap, again it's going to just be Fire Trap. You'll add added Lightning and Multi-Trap later on. A little bit before Merveil, I believe around level 12 or so, you're going to be able to pick up Lightning Trap. At that point you'll swap Fire for Lightning Trap, since it's simply a more powerful spell. And yeah, you're going to make a +1 to Lightning. Pay attention that if you happen to have a couple of extra augments, you can always, you know, throw a little augment in here. In this case I got Lightning Res and whatever, you know, Mono Regen. Not bad things to have. So if you have another augment, cool. If not, still cool. You just want the +1 and the implicit of spell damage. Yeah, at this point though, when you're switching to Lightning Trap instead of Fire Trap, you can still use the added Lightning that you already leveled up. You don't need to buy another one. and multi-trap as well. So this will be your link from level 12 for single target freeze pulse with +1 cold, for AoE multi-trap with added lightning and lightning trap for yeah, with +1 to level of lightning gems. The plus fire you can keep if you're leveling up another character. It will be very useful. If you're playing a hardcore character and you may die, your next character will be able to use these leveling ones and you don't have to spend the resources twice. Alright, let's look at the tree when we're leveling up. Of course, we're starting out as Shadow. We're going to bring in the elemental damage nodes that we're going to respec out of later. But at first, since Freeze Pulse and Lightning Trap, Fire Trap is our main damage, we're going to rush to Saboteur node right here through the elemental nodes, Intelligence, and then a couple of Mine and Trap damage nodes. These we're going to keep throughout all the way. Very good for our Glacial Cascade. But the elemental nodes we're going to be respecking later. We did that. Our next path should be down here. We get a little bit of auras, some percent life, as well as life nodes over here into the trap and mine damage cluster over here. Once we picked up that, we go down here, we grab these 3 nodes, as well as high explosive, awesome stuff, some damage, elemental damage penetration. At this point we can go into intelligence, life energy shield cluster, as well as a little bit of strength, doom cast towards the crit multiplier, not the crit chance. So doom cast and the crit multi nodes. And the little life nodes that we have here. This is how we're going to finish this setup. Alright, at this point we would want to go towards the power charge with the crit multi. Again, here we got crit chance, we're going to go through the crit multi. Alright. Okay, so we level up, we got our freeze pulse and fire trap, lightning trap, and now we're going to go towards, you know, we're going to be in Act 1. We finish Act 1 doing the prison's ascendancy trial. We go to Act 2. In Act 2 there are a couple of things to note. First of all, we're helping Alira for our bandits, because Alira gives us 20 crit multi, as well as 15 to all resist and 5 mana regen per second, which is irrelevant, but the crit multi and auras are definitely relevant and are better than 2 skill points. So we would want to help Alira, and she's located in the Western Forest. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, when we reach Act 2, we're going to go to the right hand side, the east side. We're going to go to the crossroad, pick up the waypoint, kill Crichton in the broken bridge, pick up his amulet or whatever it's called, Crichton's amulet, I think, whatever. Anyways, we kill him, and then we go to the Chamber of Sins. There's another trial of ascendancy. We do that, we pick up the Baleful gem. We can then go to the crypt and do the ascendancy there. There's a quest, it just gives you refund points if I'm not mistaken, but it's not relevant at all. So you don't have to do the quest, but you do want to do the trial of ascendancy here. And then what you do, instead of going to the Western Forest, you'll need to kill Oak first. Okay, so you'll go to the riverways. Now I'm going to show you here. The waypoint is going to be here, and over here see this like broken path or whatever. This is always going to be the case. The opposite side of the waypoint is kind of like an arrow. So if you continue walking towards this direction, you'll come across the exit to the wetlands. Okay, so this is something to keep in mind. You go to wetlands, you kill Oak, and you pick up the waypoint in the wetlands. Okay, so you're going to be here, wetlands, kill Oak, pick up the waypoint, just hug the left side, and you'll end up reaching, you know, the waypoint. Kill Oak, pick up his amulet, and then at that point you can continue marching after you pick up this waypoint to the west, and then you reach the Western Forest. So you'll keep going west, follow the path. You reach here, Western Forest, and then this is the road again. On the right side and the left side and the bottom, the end of the path, there are three objectives for us in this territory, the Western Forest. Three objectives. First, help Alira. We get our crit multi and all resists and mana regen. That's one. We get the apex. Don't forget to pick it up. That's the quest reward. You need the apex to then open the pathway to Val and yeah, all that stuff. So this is your first objective, help Alira. Second is the spider. You kill the spider to get Maligaro's spike. We need that again to open the path. And then the third one is we need to kill the lieutenant, whatever his name is, pick up his emblem, and open the road with the seal and whatever over there. So three objectives. When we opened the road, helped Alira, and did the whole spider, Maligaro spike, we can then go back to Act 1, talk to Bestel, and pick up the skill point that we're getting for opening up the road in Lionized Watch. Don't forget that, that's an extra skill point. And yeah, at this point, this I find to be the best pathing. What I used to do is kill Kraton, get the Baleful Gem, whatever, do the Trial of Ascendancies, and then I would go to the Western Forest, get the skill point quest because I wanted the skill point so bad. But what I ended up doing was get the skill point and then go back to the forest and then go back and find the Lyra, and sometimes the instance would reset and you won't have the map that you already explored. So by doing it that way, first Crichton, you kill him, Baleful Gem, kill Oak, and then go to the Western Forest, you have all the three objectives. So it doesn't matter which side you end up choosing. If you go to the left and you help Alira, or do the spider, whenever you come back, you're still going to make sure that you have the things to do and you're not going to end up wasting time on backtracking and stuff like that. So this is kind of like important to note. Alright, so you reached Act 3. In Act 3, basically there's not much to talk about except the fact that you're going to be getting your Glacial Cascade. So actually there is a couple of things to talk about. So when you go to the Ebony Barracks, this is a level 29 zone, you're going to end up killing Gravicius, the general. He's located basically as a straight up like line, you know, from the waypoint. So there's no need to go to him right now. You know, he's there, you gotta kill him. You use the lightning trap and freeze pulse for the one last time, and then when you go back to town, you need to talk to Maramoa, and she will give you several skill gems. Goodbye. Like Flame Blast and whatnot, but Glacial Cascade will in fact not be one of them. So how you get it, you simply go to Clarissa and cost you one chance orb, and you get your Glacial Cascade. Okay. Another thing to note is that in fact in Act 2, when you do the Maligaro Spike quest, the same thing we did with the Minefield and Remote Mine, you'll be able to talk to Silk after Maligaro's Spike quest, and you'll be able to buy Trap and Mine damage as well as physical to lightning. So you can pick up these two gems already. This is a green socket, this is a blue socket, and you can level up 2 of each at the same time. Okay, so again, we pick up 2, we pick up 2, and then we're leveling them up in our off weapons. If you end up like not having enough sockets, don't worry, it's fine. Just make sure you level up at least 1. Okay, if not 2, just make sure you level up at least 1. Physical to lightning is not that important, but trap and mine damage support is important because you can pick it up from Act 2, and then again you're going to be leveling it up, and as soon as you get your Glacial Cascade, you'll be able to make your 4-link setup. So you kill Gravicius, you're in Act 3, you get your 4-link setup. What is that? This is going to be your 4-link setup. Glacial Cascade, a Remote Mine, Trap and Mine, damage support, and Minefield. Yeah, at this point you're linking those things. If you have Detonate Mine Totem, it's awesome, it's amazing. You won't be able Unless you're in a trading league, then of course you'll be able to. But if you happen to find one of these detonate mines, those are amazing quality of life. They're just allowing you to do so many things and the build so much more fluent. Basically, you need to link it with spell totem and a increased duration so that the totem will last longer. And basically what it does is it will, you'll place the totem and it will detonate the mine for you. So whenever there's monsters nearby, it's fine, there's a monster. So I'm placing the totem and I'm not detonating the mines, but I can continue right-clicking and spamming, and the detonate mine totem will detonate them constantly as long as it's up. Okay, of course this is not a map, there's not too many monsters in here and they'll die like quite quickly, but that's the point. And it gives us an insane edge when it comes to, breaches. We are able to just place it and the Glacial Cascade will just explode, kill everything. Against bosses this is very, very good because we don't have to perform two actions of placing the mine and pressing R to detonate the mine. The totem will detonate the mine itself as long as there's monsters nearby. Okay, so this will be a 4-link setup. This can carry you all the way through red maps even. Okay, this is an extremely powerful setup, especially if you have a detonate mine. It saves you so much time. Yeah, but if you're, you got a 5 or 6 link, we're going to talk about that. Yeah, so over here there's a couple of trial of ascendancies that you need to do. The hedge maze in the Imperial Gardens, the crematorium, and this side area next to the marketplace there's the catacombs. So 3 trial of ascendancy that you need to complete in this area, and then somewhere in Act 4 before Malachi is when I like to do the first lab, right? The normal lab. So yeah, at this point before Malachi you'll be around level 37, 38, something like that, maybe 40, and then the area level of the Aspirants Plaza's first normal ascendancy is 33 if I'm not mistaken, so you can go ahead and do that without any problem. Glacial Cascade will absolutely destroy Zaro. You just pay attention to traps, grab your healing flasks and whatnot. So yeah, you get your first ascendancy. Your first 2 points are going to be mental damage, trap and mine placement speed, as well as bomb specialist. This will give us basically more damage per trap or per mine, more area effect, and so on. But it's not going to feel like substantially stronger. Yeah, but it's something that we should probably do before Malachi. Definitely helps with the damage, bringing them down super quickly. We reach Act 5, we finish Act 5, nothing really to say much about that. Act 6 is pretty straightforward as well. You just pick up like whatever you do. In Act 6 there's a couple of things to mention. When you enter Act 6 you can talk to Lily. She will be here and the ship will be here and whatnot because she just took you from whatever, Act 5 to Act 6. So you'll talk to Lily, she'll give you a quest, and then you'll go to here, this exit right here, to the Twilight Strand. This is a level area 45, and you gotta kill all monsters. Once you kill all monsters, Lily will be able to sell you pretty much every gem in the game, so she will be your gem vendor from this point on. Used to be Siosa in Act 3, but there's no reason to do that anymore, because he doesn't give all the skill gems that you're going to need. But I find that Act 6 is pretty much the time where I want to think about things like cast when damage taken setup, shield charge setup. Okay, so a shield charge setup will be as follows. Basically, we buy our fortify, our shield charge, that's the one, and faster attacks. This is going to be our shield charge setup. When it comes to cast when damage taken, we want Immortal Call. cast when damage taken. If we have room, then increase duration, but honestly it doesn't really matter all that much. If we have room, okay. If we have the links, sure, increase duration for a little bit of extra time on the Immortal Call immunity, but we really don't have to. Enfeeble or Temporal Chains, I sometimes go with this, sometimes go with that. I still don't know which one is better. I think Enfeeble overall is better because of, you know, all the damage reduction and whatnot, but Temporal Chains has its merits. Depends on what you want. Either way, this is where we're going to pick up these two setups right here. And as well, this is where I like to get myself a Val Clarity, because, you know, I farmed a little bit, Act 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we reach Act 6, maybe I have a few Val Orbs in my stash, right? We're just starting the league, this is stuff that I have in Standard, of course, I don't care about Val Orbs or anything, but at this point, I would want to get my Val Clarity, so I'll just get whatever Val Orbs that I have, and I'll pray that I get the right, you know, the right Val or whatever. These are cheap, they only cost 1 transmute, but yeah, we just want to Val a bunch of Clarity gems until we get Val Clarity. They get quality. There we go, this is our Val Clarity. So why is Val Clarity important? Because Val Clarity is just basically makes our mana costs free. So, you know, instead of spending 135 mana, it's very, very intensive, right? We're going to see our mana go down. Getting back my weapon. We're going to see our mana go down whenever we're spamming this. You see it very, very, very clearly. And of course, for endgame purposes, we are going to use Mind over Matter. So we want our mana pool to be full so that we can absorb damage with Mind over Matter through our mana pool, right? To increase our effective HP. So, you know, Val Clarity, once you are able to pick up the charges from killing monsters, and while you're mapping and just like generally in the story, it will allow you to have almost 100% of completely free cost of your skills, especially if you link it with increased duration. Okay, so yeah, one thing to note as well, you make sure that like the most important thing when you're leveling up, you really want to make sure that you have at least 3 or 4 Glacial Cascade gems that you're going to be leveling up on your off weapons, you know, at the same time as leveling it up on your main damage link. Because when this gem reaches level 20, you're going to Val it and hope for 21. If you didn't hit 21, no problem. You just stick with the corrupted 20 that you have, and then the level 20 gems that you get, they're probably all going to be level 20 roughly at the same time. So what's going to happen is you're going to vendor a level 20 gem, so that when you vendor it with 1 GCP, 1 gem cutter prism, I don't have a level 20 gem to show for the example, but basically what you want to do is vendor Glacial Cascade. Imagine this is level 20. If it was level 20, the recipe means that when you vendor a level 20 gem, whatever gem, it doesn't have to be GC, but any gem that's level 20, and 1 gem cutter prism, when you vendor that, you will get a level 1 but with 20 quality gem of whatever type you vendored. So 20 quality Glacial Cascade, but it's going to be level 1. So you want to keep your level 20 gem Glacial Cascade, but when it comes to all the supports, you want to just vendor them immediately as soon as they get level 20, so that you can start leveling them up. The main damage comes from your Glacial Cascade level, so you want to keep that at 20, okay? But you want to level up the rest of the gems to 20, again with 20 quality, so that when they reach 20, you can Val them and hopefully hit level 21 with 20 quality, which is basically the most damage you can get out of a Val corruption on a level 20 gem. That's like the optimal. You can't get more than that. Okay, so that's basically what you want to achieve. So make sure you have at least 4 of these. Again, if you're in a trading league, it's a different story, but if you're playing solo self-fund, which is what I've been doing, You gotta think about all those things and prepare them in advance, because level 1 to 20 takes a little bit, and you want to be prepared. Okay, so you reached Act 6. You completed this quest, whatever, Twilight Strand. You clear all the monsters, and then you get your shield charge. Shield charge feels amazing after using Flame Dash. Basically, you'll be using Flame Dash from Act 1. You can still keep a Flame Dash, just like one single socket, not linked to anything. You can just keep it with you and it will be fine, because certain things you have to jump over and certain things you have to, shield charge through. So it depends on the situations. You can keep both of the movement skills, but this is going to be your Fortify, shield charge, and faster attacks. When it comes to Fortify, shield charge, you don't need to level them up. They're just as effective as level 1 as they are at level 20 for your setup, so you don't need to level them up. It will just require you to get more strength, and you do not want to limit yourself from strength requirements from gems if it is irrelevant. What you do want, however, is to level up your faster attacks as much as you can, so that when it reaches level 20, again, you vendor with +1 GCP and you get even faster attacks, and you let it level up again as well. When it comes to your cast when damage taken, I usually end up with a level 4 cast when damage taken, level 7 enfeeble. Immortal Call can stick at level 1, and if you link increased duration to it, then it can be level 20. It doesn't matter, because cast when damage taken does not cast the increased duration, but the increased duration will affect the enfeeble and will affect the Immortal Call that cast when damage taken casts. So level 7, level 4, level 1, and level 20 increased duration. That will be your overall potential setup. An additional thing you can do, if you were lucky enough, is to, instead of increased duration, link yourselves Frost Bomb as well, because that will reduce the amount of resistance that monsters have. So this will be your overall 4-link. Or what you can do, if you, again, lucky enough, you can link another Detonate Mine, and here I use that instead of Immortal Call altogether. So I'm using Detonate Mines, Enfeeble, Cast when damage taken, and Frost Bomb. Frost Bomb can stay at level 1. It will always give the -20 cold res from level 1 and on, so you don't need to level up this gem. But yeah, while having, if you have the 1 Detonate Mines, it's fine to have it on a spell totem, but this will keep you alive, because you're right clicking all the time. Sometimes the totem is down and then you take damage. This cast when damage taken Detonate Mines will immediately detonate all the mines that you've deployed, so that everything will die and you'll stop taking damage. So this is another option, another something to think of if you were lucky enough to get 2 Detonate Mine totems. So yeah, we got our this is going to be our basic setup though. If we do have it, Frost Bomb here, this is the 1, so this is your 4-link. Val Clarity can be linked with increased duration, or if you don't have the room for it, don't worry about it. But generally you do want to have it with increased duration, because it gives you about 16 seconds at level 20, I think. 16 seconds of duration of free castings of all your skills. So it's extremely important. It's very, very nice to have. So here I have my Val Clarity with Val Lightning Trap and increased duration. So I mean, yeah. When it comes to quality, any auras don't need quality unless you're farming in a party. Quality just makes it so that it increases the area of effect. It doesn't increase the effect of the skill. So you don't want quality on Val Clarity or Val Lightning Trap. Yeah. I'm actually interested to check. Let's do this now. If I vendor a level 20 with 1 GCP. No, since it's corrupted, I'm not going to get the 20 quality. Well, but generally it will. If the gem is not a Val gem, it will work 100%. Alright, so we did our normal ascendancy, we did our You know, we did our normal ascendancy, we grabbed our 2 points. We're in Act 6 right now. We picked up our shield charge, 45 faster attacks, as well as the frost bomb and feeble, cast when damage taken, immortal call. This will be our setup over here, as well as Val clarity and increased duration. Okay, so I'm doing it in Act 6. If it's possible for you, then you can do it earlier. I mean, you know, until you get your Val clarity increase. Increased duration is kind of hard to get. I'm not even sure you can even get it at all. But, you know, you can use Val clarity. You can Val clarity gems even earlier. But I find it that it's kind of like comfortable for me when I reach Act 6 to just do all those things all together and then go out with all this setup ready. And I don't feel like I need it prior to that. But of course, you know, it's just the way I do things. You can do things your own way. And of course, when you're starting out, you know, you got 5 acts to farm before you reach Act 6, and this will require some resources here, you know, here and there, jewelers, fusings, chromes, and all that stuff that you're going to be able to, yeah, you're not going to have these resources early on. You know, you might have them if you're lucky, but chances are you'll have them around Act 6. This is where I find the most comfortable to get all these gem setups. Alright, so when looking at the skill tree, again, we're in Act 6. It's a pretty straightforward act. We go, our skill tree should look like this. I like to go straight to the life nodes. Some people do other things, but yeah. Here we pick up Annihilation for the crit chance for spells, Occultist's Dominion, Heart and Soul, Mana and Life. And at this point we should have finished Act 6. Yeah, at this point we definitely finish Act 6. You'll finish Act 6 around level 52 or so. You reach Act 8. Okay, basically Act 7 there's not much to talk about. Nothing really changes. You know, we do whatever. We pick up the skill point quests. We kill our Kali, right? The spider, Val City, Dread Thicket. We pick up all the stuff. Grothkul here in the Dread Thicket for the skill point quest. Grothkul should die pretty easily, but it's a pretty serious boss. So if you're playing hardcore, maybe you want to wait until like level 62, 63, 10 levels above, because he has some kind of an attack that deals some serious burst damage, and if you're not ready for it, and if you don't know how it looks like and whatnot, it can really one-shot you. So you don't want to get it's called the Den of Despair, and you kill Grothkul. It's a big beast looking creature, beautiful fight, awesome monster, and gives you skill points, so it's very important. And it's also giving you Pantheon power that's not that relevant, but yeah, you do get those things over there. So maybe you want to wait a couple levels, although with Glacial Cascade, with just the 4-link, you'll be able to do just fine with that. Okay, so we're advancing in the story. We're around level 58 or so, I guess. 56, 55 is the Sarn, Ramparts, whatever. We reach Act 8. Now, in Act 8, there's a couple of things to talk about. When we're here, so I found I played several characters and like it always comes to the question, okay, I killed Doidre, whatever, now what do I do? I'm in the Toxic Conduit and I just killed Doidre. Do I turn to the right or do I turn to the left? Where do I go? So what I ended up liking was I go to the right side, I pick up the Sun Orb from Solaris Temple. I keep going to the west to Solaris Concourse. Over here there's no waypoint, but it's just the harbor bridge. You're going to pass the boss room because the bosses are going to be Lunaris and Solaris. They're both going to be here. You're going to pass the boss room. You can't enter and activate the fight either way without both of the orbs. So you're going to pick up the first orb over here, the sun, and then you're going to go and pick up the waypoint in Lunaris Concourse, and at this point you're going to travel north, pick up the the Lunaris, the moon orb right? So you got the moon, you got the sun orb from both these temples. Now, if you just see that the concourse is just like a straight line, the harbor bridge is just like a straight line down here. It's always going to be located this way. So when you come in from this area, remember, we passed the boss room. Okay, so we were here. The toxic conduits went to the right. In the grain gate, there is a quest that you got to accomplish. There's a couple of legionnaires, a group. They look like this. They look like the steam-powered transmog or whatever. Okay, so they look like this. You kill them. You gotta make sure that you kill them because this is a skill point quest that you don't want to miss out on. It's located in the Grain Gate. You continue to the Imperial Fields, pick up the Sun Orb from the Solaris Temple, go to the Solaris Concourse, and then Harbor Bridge. Now, the Harbor Bridge is always kind of like a straight, it's just going to go down until you reach this exit to Lunaris Concourse. And when you reach it, you always know that you just need to continue a little bit upwards, and then you reach the waypoint right here. Okay, so it's always going to be here. You can't miss it. All right. So at this point, you can do two things. One, go to the bathhouse. The bathhouse is always going to be located over here. The entrance to the bathhouse is always going to be located over here, to the left side. See right here. This is the bathhouse. Or you can go to the temple and get the moon orb, because we got the sun one already, and we want to get the moon orbs now. So the temple will be up here. You just need to continue all the way up and you'll see the entrance. It's the same layout. It never changes. So left to the bathhouse and up to the Lunaris temple. Now the reason you don't want to go straight here to the left is because you don't have to be here. The Grand Promenade, there's nothing, there's no quest, there's no skill point, there's nothing that you need. So when you when you reach the bathhouse, you'll have two things to do there. The Wings of Vestiri. This, you get whatever, some refund points or whatever, skill point, I'm not sure, but I remember that I think I should do it, so maybe it's a skill point. But you also find the exit to the High Gardens, and then you kill Yogol. Now, one thing to note, because you want to do least backtracking possible, what you want to do is first go to the bathhouse and finish the Wings of Vestiri quest. There's a big guard, there's like a catacomb, you click it, it opens up, it gets you those wings. So you finish up this quest and then you go back to the High Gardens, because the High Gardens is a dead end and Yogol is located at the very end of that road, of that dead end, just a straight road, and there's a bunch of monsters there. It looks like exactly like the High Gardens map. It is the High Garden. So Yogol, the boss that you need to kill for the skill point, is going to be located at the very end, and there's no easy way for you to get back to that point. So the point is that when you finish him, you can easily TP back to town after you finished your business in this side of the act, and then just grab the Lunaris Concourse waypoint that we're here right now and go back to the Harbor Bridge and go fight the bosses. Awesome. At this point, your tree should look like this. You'll be around level 60-ish, and your tree should be looking exactly like this. Okay? But what we're going to do at this point is we would want to unspec of the elemental damage nodes and then spec into the physical damage nodes. So what we're going to do is when you reach this point of the tree, okay, and of course there's going to be links in the description and whatnot, the transition to mind over matter basically is we're going to spec into these points, the physical damage nodes, and then we're going to unspec of the elemental and grab the crit instead. Okay, so when you did that, you will have a surplus of skill points that is going to be one short of the entire mind over matter cluster. So you do this at level 63 or 64 or whatever, or 62 or 63. Okay, so at that point you do the unspecking. How do you do it? Simply by spec, like you level up. Instead of continuing the progression on the tree, the endgame tree, you'll just go to the physical damage nodes, and then you'll have some extra points. So with these extra points, you'll spec into the mind over matter cluster. Okay, so again, bear in mind there are 6 points and we're unspecking 5, so we'll just need 1 extra point. So we'll need to level up 1 more time. As simple as that. So you finish this basically, to make it simple. You finish this, your tree looks like this, right? Without the mind over matter. At this point, you level up 1 more time. Alright? You level up 1 more time because we need 6 points. And we're going to unspec of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need 6 points, right? And we definitely want that last one because it gives us plus 40% increased max mana and plus 100 to mana. So it's an insane node. We don't want to get mind over matter before we can allocate this entire cluster. For efficiency reasons, you'll understand when you get there. Basically, you don't want to have mind over matter and no mana to absorb because you can run out of mana very, very easily. For every small hit, you'll just run out of mana. So you want to grab the entire cluster before you commit to mind over matter. And in order to do that, we simply, again, spec into the physical damage nodes from the life cluster down to coordination, physical damage nodes. And then we level up 1 more time, and then we unspec using our regrets, or we'll probably have enough unspecking points from quest rewards. We'll unspec these, and then we'll have exactly 6 points to spec into mind over matter and inspiration, and these 2 mana nodes right here. Okay, so this point is how we start Act 9. Act 9. We finished Act 8, we killed Solaris, Lunaris, whatever. We go to the Blood Aqueduct. Blood Aqueduct is a wonderful place because over here we can find our humility cards. Humility is divination card that give us... let me see if I have it. I do. So humility gives us tabula, okay? So we can turn this in when we have 9 for a tabula, and then we can get our 6 link. We don't have to have it. If you choose, you can remain with your defensive chest with just a 4 link, and believe me when I say this Glacial Cascade, Trap and Mine Damage, Minefield, Remote Mine Cluster, or setup, 4 link setup will be able to carry you all the way through maps. You don't even need a 5 or 6 link. You will be able to do up to yellow maps. You're only going to start a little bit of struggle when you reach the red maps, and then you'll probably need a 5 and a 6 link. But at first, this 4 link setup is definitely strong enough to carry you. But if you want, this is an excellent place because it's a straight line, right? The Blood Aqueduct is basically a straight line of just shield charging and destroying everything that we see. And you know, easy game, easy life. We just do this mindlessly. We grind ourselves about 10 levels or so. At this point we should be level 61, 62 when we enter here, 63. We just shifted to mind over matter, so maybe 63. And then we should probably level up safely about 10 levels or so, 9 levels. So we should be around level 72, 71, 73 at the most, I think, when we leave this place after we gathered our tabula card, the humility. Yeah, so we have the tabula. If we want, we shift into a 6 link. If we don't, we just continue with our 4 link at level 72 or 73. We do Act 9, which is basically Act 4 all over again, which is not really, because it's kind of different. But yeah, it's a very fun act, one of my favorites. There's a couple of things to do. The Oasis is completely irrelevant. On the foothill, there's a skill quest point. We need to go to the Boiling Lake. On the foothills, there's a refund quest point. Boiling Lake for skill quest. We go to the town. There's nothing there, if I remember correctly. The quarry. At the quarry, there are 2 objectives. On the left side, there's a skill quest point. And on the right side, there is some powder that we need to bring to Sin. Sin is going to be standing here, and this is the belly of the beast, right? So we need to give him the powder, enter the belly of the beast. But before that, we go to the left side, because right here to the left, there's going to be a skill point quest. Yeah, so it's not the refinery. It's a zone that is not mentioned here for some reason, but it's like a desert looking area, and there's a soul of something, I don't remember exactly, but it's one of the minor gods. I'm not sure which, man, they all look the same to me. But yeah, skill point quest, just don't forget it. Alright, so we finished our Act 9. When we're 72 and the zones here, you can see it's like 61, 62, 62, 3, 63, 64, and we're like gonna be 72, 73 when we're doing this. This should be a breeze. We shouldn't encounter any problems. Of course, we always gotta keep in mind that we want to keep our resistances at, you know, 70 plus, 65 plus at the very least. When we see masters, we level them up because we want to have our hideout immediately at level 3. We want to invite Elrion, Haku for the armor, you know, armor for the resistances, for the, you know, life rolls on rings and whatnot, mana rolls on rings and amulets. We want to be able to craft those things with our masters. So gotta keep that in mind. Okay, so when we see masters, we will level them up. One thing to note though is that if you have a hideout, the area level of the monsters in the hideout is like level 31 or higher. So if you're like playing softcore, it doesn't matter, but if you play hardcore, don't do a daily quest on a lower level character, because everything there will one-shot you. These daily quests, or generally, yeah, they're kind of rippy. So it's another thing to, like, you know, keep in mind. Alright, so basically we reach Act 9, we reach Act 10. A couple of words on our 6-link setup, whether we chose to use a tabula. So 2 more things we can add now. One is going to be Physical to Lightning. Physical to Lightning is a very nice skill gem. Basically, the Glacial Cascade itself is physical damage. You see in blue, deals 177 to 266, whatever physical damage, but 60% of that is converted to cold. So what Physical to Lightning will do is make sure that we're going to have 100% conversion. Okay, because it will convert the remainder of the 40% that are left to lightning. So we will deal 100% lightning, or sorry, elemental damage. So 60% of which is going to be cold, 40% of which is going to be lightning. So elemental damage will scale our, you know, our damage. Reason why we do it is because we want the full conversion to be able to scale our DPS better. And in order to do that, there are several ways. First, I just mentioned, the Physical to Lightning is the most convenient, the easiest one, but the one that gives us the least damage. Why is that? Because it's a gem. It takes a slot in our 6-link setup, right? This is going to be our 4-link, but once we get 5-link, this is going to be the gem that we're going to use. Physical to Lightning. And that gem, again, it's a gem. It takes place in our 6-link setup that we can use something else instead. So it takes, you know, it takes its toll. That's the sacrifice. But it is the most convenient way. The second way, extremely not convenient, is going to be the Helm enchantment. This can only be gained by doing Uber Lab, right? Only the last Ascendancy, the Endgame Labyrinth. where you get the 40%, which is the maximum value of Glacial Cascade physical damage converted to cold damage. This helm enchant is, well, there's like, I don't know, 350 whatever helm enchants, and it's extremely hard to get one, so you're most likely going to be able to get it through trading. But if you're playing Soul Self-Found, this is completely out of question. There's absolutely no chance for you to get it. I mean, 1 in a million will happen, or 1 in 350 will happen, but you're not really ever going to grind Uberlab to get the one helm enchant, because that's what you're doing. That's what you'll be doing until the end of your life. You know, it's near impossible to get the helm enchant that you want. You can't really target that. It's only in terms of, like, you know, trading. A lot of people doing it on, you know, regular basis. Helms like that are being generated, and you can get a helm like that. But yeah, in a non-trading league, don't expect to get it. So we're going to have our physical to lightning. Another thing, possibility to be able to convert without using both of these options is in 3.1. GG already announced they're going to introduce a gem called the Long Winter, I believe. That is a jewel that we're going to be able to socket in our passive skill tree. Each one of these jewels, it's a threshold jewel, will have a 20% conversion of our physical to cold of the Glacial Cascade. So 20%, we're going to need 2 of these to get the full 40%, so we can get the full 100%, 60 from the gem itself, 20/20 from both of these jewels. These jewels will also have some other modifiers that will affect the Glacial Cascade and make it better, doing more cold damage. Yeah, but these jewels are coming at a sacrifice of 4 skill points, and the alternative of, you know, up to 7% maximum life for each jewel, and up to 3 damage modifiers for each jewel. So overall, it's up to 14% increased maximum life, and up to 6 damage modifier that could be very, very impactful that we're not gonna get. So to sum it all up, when it comes to conversion, the absolute best way is to get the helm enchant, but it's at the absolute hardest way as well. Secondly, you know, there's going to be the new jewels that are going to be implemented, and again, if you're in a Soul Self-Found, you might not even see one of them. But if you're in a trading league, you can probably get them, probably for cheap, and socket those into your tree, and then you save yourself the physical to lightning, and instead get increased critical strikes. So increased critical strike will just give you extra crit chance, and that will make your Glacial Cascade crit more frequently, more reliably. So yeah, and of course the third way is the jewels, but I don't know. I'm a bit torn. I have to try these jewels myself before I can recommend them. I think the sacrifice might be a bit too big, to be honest. 4 skill points, and, you know, for what a simple jewel can give us, or yeah, physical to lightning. I don't know. We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see how strong these jewels really are. All right, so we are in Act 10. We killed Kitava, we reached maps, awesome. The tree, this is how our tree should look like around level 60 or so, just before the Blood Aqueducts. When we level up in the Blood Aqueducts, we're going to pick up the life nodes from the Templar. The Elementalist is what I kind of like, that's my new transition. And yeah, this is how our tree should look like at the end of our leveling, just before Kitava. And also just before Kitava, we can complete our entire Ascendancy. I didn't mention, but before Malachi, I like to do the normal Ascendancy. Before before the Spider in Act 7. Let me just make sure. Act 7 is around level 50. Okay, so in Act 8. somewhere in Act 8 you can do the Cruel Ascendancy. Cruel Ascendancy is level 53, I think? 55. So you want to be level 60-ish, you know? And then you want to be level 70, 71, 72 for your Merc Labyrinth. Okay, so that's basically it. So for your let's use the offline tree. So for your normal Ascendancy, you want to pick up Bomb Specialist. The build become amazing once you have Demolition Specialist. This is going to be your Cruel, and you're going to feel a substantial quality of life. Everything is going to happen so much faster thanks to the arming speed and mine laying speed if you detonated mine recently. So a lot of mine action speed going when you get that. The Explosive Expert with the elemental damage and resist is not going to feel any different, but of course you're going to make more damage because of the damage penetration of resistance and extra physical damage as fire that we're getting from Explosive Expert. When it comes to the Uber Lab, we're going to pick up the baby nodes of elemental damage, trap and mine placement speed, and elemental damage movement speed over here. People ask me why not go for chain reaction. Chain reaction would have been amazing, except the fact that it only affects traps and not mines. So there's that. Don't pick up chain reaction. It doesn't affect mines at all. And we are miners, not trappers. Okay, so we're going to pick up these two. Another alternative would be to just go for the baby node, elemental damage and movement speed, and blinding assault for a little bit of a defensive. I personally don't particularly like that option. I just rather go and take more damage and deal more damage and get that mine laying speed action going. This is it. I think I covered pretty much everything. Except one thing that is very, very, very important. For all your trial ascendancy needs, Uber Lab, not even just Merc Lab, normal Cruel Lab, this is what you want. You want the Soul of Relicash. This is an extremely, extremely strong minor god pantheon power that we will use to reduce our physical damage over time damage taken. It's kind of weird, right? Physical damage over time damage taken. But yeah, we're going to need that very, very much to basically keep us alive while moving from all type of trap. It has a chance to avoid bleeding altogether, and it reduces bleeding damage while you're moving, and it reduces the trap damage that you're taking. Every single trap in this whole thing that is called Labyrinth and Trials and Ascendancy Trials and all that stuff is damage over time. So this gives us a serious mitigation factor that should not be underestimated. Okay? And regardless, even while mapping, I believe that this is a very good minor god power to use, simply because, you know, it's awesome. It's not just traps, it's all sorts of damage over time, like chaos, like bleed and whatnot, burning. So 25% reduction. I believe it's the best one to just have it once you get it and just never let go. And as well as Soul Brian King to never be stun locked. Basically, you just get stunned once and then you can't be stunned again. Very, very good stuff as well. So these are the two things that I wanted to talk about. Extremely important is this one. Whenever it comes to Trial of Ascendancies, you know, the trial in maps that you're going to see later, very, very, very good damage reduction. I think I covered pretty much everything. If you don't, actually I did not. So let's talk actually about a couple more things. One will be your mana pool. So your mana pool and hatred, these two go hand in hand. Because we're using mind over matter, we want our mana pool to be full at all times. We don't want to reserve anything, and that can only be achieved if we don't use any aura, or B, use Essence Worm. Essence Worm Ring will give us +2 to level socketed gems. Socketed gems will reserve no mana, and 40% increased mana reserved if we do end up reserving something else. But basically, we're not gonna. So it's just one aura that we're going to be using, and we're going to be using Hatred. Hatred is an insane DPS increase. It gives us physical damage, extra cold damage, 37% at level 20, as you can see, and instead of 53k, it's going to go up to 71k, which is a substantial increase in our damage. Now this can only be achieved by using Essence Swarm, and in order to do that, I mean, if you're playing Soul Spellbound, you can chance Unset Rings. I personally have chanced an Essence Swarm, so it's possible you can get it that way. You can of course get lucky and drop it, but if you don't, do not use Hatred, because then it will reserve half of your mana, so half of your effective HP coming from Mind Over Matter is going to be lost. So don't use Hatred unless you have Essence Swarm. Another unique that synergizes well with this would be Clear Mind. This will give you some mana regen, but most importantly up to 60% increased spell damage while no mana is reserved. So again, our damage is going to go from, you know, 66.6 to 71 point something. It's roughly 5k DPS with my current gear. So it's a very good you know, jewel to have. It runs 30 to 60% increased spell damage. So, you know, if you're unlucky, you got yourself a low roll, try and hope a Divine Orb will increase that to around 55 plus. But either way, it's an excellent jewel to use. Yeah, when it comes to also uniques, Carcass Jack is the best in slot chest for the build, for obvious reasons. I mean, it has everything: life, resists, area of effect, and area damage. So it runs 40 to 50 area damage, and yeah, best in slot. Again, varnished, I don't know how to pronounce it, but varnished coats is something that you're going to have to put on your loot filter, as well as unset rings. Just make sure that you pick up these varnished coats and white unset rings and use chance orbs on them. I personally managed to chance both Carcass Jack and Essence Swarm ring in my Soul Spellbound adventures, so you know, it's possible. Good luck with that. Also chance Sapphire Flasks and Bismuth Flasks, because there is a chance you get Wise Oak and Taste of Hate. Chances are slim, but you know, and these are kind of scarce. It's not something that you know, drop very frequently. Sapphire Flasks, just white Sapphire Flasks, don't really drop that frequently, but whenever they do, you have a chance of getting it. And Taste of Hate is an insane flask for increased damage, and of course for mitigation, because it adds maximum cold resist. So whenever we're gonna pop it, instead of 75, it's gonna be 81 cold resist. So very good stuff. And when you have that setup, you are able to basically be very forgiving with your resistance. You'll always be able to have, you know, a little bit less under the cap, because you know, you have the Wise Oak. It's 35 to all res. You got your cold res from here, so you know, it's kind of a big deal. You don't have to have overcapped resistance, the normal 109 for elemental weakness map. You can settle for slightly less than that. Also, whenever you get the chance, this build with the 4-link that we mentioned before, very powerful. We can very easily, with a level 18 gem, even level 17 gems, 17 or 18, go and do your Atsiri. Atsiri normal will have a very good chance, I don't know, somewhere around, I don't even know, but like almost like, I don't know, I guess 7 out of 10 times it will drop you this Amethyst Flask. So, you know, very high chance for you to get a Serious Promise. It's an excellent flask for damage, of course, and for chaos resist. So, you know, something to keep in mind as soon as you have it. And of course, if you're familiar with the fight, you know, it shouldn't be any problem. This build absolutely destroys bosses. So yeah, when it comes to flasks in general, you want your bleeding flask and you know, dousing or curing for poison or for fire. But also don't forget, if you're not using comms roots, you want your warding suffix. Catalyzed is a good prefix for your mana flask. You can pick up Eternal. You can pick up the other one, I forgot its name. Sanctified mana flask. Both of these are good. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure it's catalyzed so you get your mana regeneration quicker. That's the prefix. And for suffix, pick up warding. Make sure you have heat if you don't use comms roots. Heat, warding, and staunching are the three suffixes that you should have for bleed, for freezing, and for curses that you want to remove. Other than that, one last thing. What are you looking for when you're coming to, you know, to a point? What do you want on your gear? When it comes to the rare pieces, you just want, you know, life resists. Of course, elemental damage with attack skills doesn't work on this particular belt. I'm just using it because of the other stats that it has. You know, but basically, you want a lot of life, you want a lot of resistance. That's it. When it comes to the rest of the gear, weapon and shield. So on the weapon, we want 4 stats. And I'm going to list them by the order of importance. Increased spell damage, crit chance for spells, elemental damage for spells, and last, global crit multi. If you have an open suffix, you want attack speed as well, so that your shield charge will be faster. Okay, so spell damage, crit chance for spells, elemental damage for spells, flat element, like the add 7 to 110 lightning damage for spells, that's what I'm saying. Elemental damage for spells can be cold, can be fire, and global crit multi. On your shield, you want as much life, mana, and resist, but for damage mods, you want to have spell damage and crit chance for spells. This shield is mind-blowing. It's really that good. It has absolutely everything that we need, and it can't have better stats than, you know, than what's here. In terms of values, of course, yes, but in terms of like what actual properties we want on our shield, that's what we want. We want our life, we want our mana for mind over matter, we want our resistances that we're missing, and we want our crit chance for spells and spell damage. Another thing to note, on your loot filter, you want to be able to have 2 bases that you're going to be throwing alchemy orbs on. 2 bases will be your shields, your spirit shields, and your daggers. The best in slot weapon for this build is going to be a global crit multi of 50% dagger. There are 3 daggers that give global crit chance of 50%. So check out which ones of them they are. I'm not sure. I know Golden Chris is one of them because obviously I'm wielding one. There is Copper Chris, I think, and there is another one. All 3 are the only 3 ones that give you 50% increased global crit chance modifier as an implicit roll. Whenever you find white ones, okay, just normal ones, you pick up a stack of alchemy orbs and then you just randomly throw an alchemy on them. Every once in a while you'll hit an upgrade because that's how it goes. Okay, so you make sure to pick up these white ones and craft them. Make sure they're listed on your loot filter, as well as fossilized spirit shields, ivory spirit shields, and there's another type of spirit shield that can give you up to 20% spell damage. You don't want, I mean, you can pick up the rest, but it's just going to be too much overwhelming, right? There's shields that give you implicit roll of 5% spell damage, 10% spell damage, 15% spell damage, and 20% spell damage. So obviously they all drop very frequently. You want to be able to pick up the ones with the highest implicit roll. 20% spell damage for your shield, 50% crit chance modifier for your dagger. Okay, so make sure your loot filter highlights those so you can pick them up as whites and then throw in alchemy, make them rare, and hope for a good roll. That's how I managed to get a lot of good shields and daggers while I was doing my soul spellbound. That's what I recommend to you. Chance your essence swarm and like see your damage just skyrocket with hatred. It's amazing actually once you actually get it. And yeah, good luck linking your stuff. I mean, it's not easy. But even with the 4 link, it's fine. I, at this point, really think I covered pretty much everything. Yes. So I know it was a long guide, but and I know I spoke a lot. You can always come back and kind of like you can take notes. But I hope you learned, something. I hope I was helpful, and I hope you have a fun Abyss League. Always make sure to come check out the stream. I really appreciate all the support. If you enjoyed this guide, make sure to follow the Twitch, whatever. Sub to the YouTube channel. I'm gonna be grinding with my Glacial Cascade Miner in just a couple of days when Abyss League starts. It's gonna be awesome. I hope to see all you guys there. Thank you for watching. Good luck. Have fun. Stay safe.